welcome back to Suladan Plays Gone Golfing. So, a minor mishap happened, and sadly it affected both this and the upcoming KOTOR episode. But basically, technical hiccup, the webcam and game footage files got intertwined due to a whoops. Basically, I'm having to re-record this. I'm going to figure out what to do with KOTOR when we get there. I'm going to figure out what to do with KOTOR when we get there, and I'm not going to stress about that right now because I need to re-record this. But basically, I have a review at the end of the video, and that part managed to survive, so I'll probably tack that on the end. I've played the Merry Golfmas DLC. I did not successfully finish it, however, due to reasons that you will probably see, assuming I don't just get lucky and beat it. But, yeah, very interesting DLC, and I'll go over more detail on that when we get to the end. But for now, we're going to go ahead and begin. One thing of note, you have 5 lives. If you die 5 times, it all resets. And there's enough puzzles to make that tedious, which, again, we'll see. Wakey, wakey, it's Christmas, and I'm feeling extra charitable this year, so I'm going to give you one chance to escape. Put the meatball into the meat hole, and you'll be allowed to leave. Oh, and don't worry about the stroke count. Worry about getting out alive. You have 5 attempts. Ho, ho, ho. But yeah, basically, boink. Not a bad DLC at all, and I do, you know, depending on how much of the review survive. I still haven't gotten to skim through the file entirely. It looked like the whole ending monologue survived, so I assume stuff like reviewing will be covered at that point, but, you know, we'll see when we get to the editing phase. There are certain paths that you cannot knock the meatball, though. The doorways will either be blocked with a thing like that, or if not, it'll still have a sign that says, like, no golf allowed here or something. And there he is, in his holly jolly self. This is the clubhouse. It is a safe zone. I know not whether it by glitch or by intention. But it is glorious, and I love every minute of being able to hide in here to get rid of his aggro. But yeah, no adults allowed, no girls either, keep out. There is more to that location than I can currently do. As you can tell, there are floorboards, and I will need to be dealing with them. There's a fire over there. And, yeah, I do love the DLC. It has a lot of interesting content to it, and I like the mixture of, you know, survival horror and whatnot that it's got. Also, you know, clean up 5 soda cans, we give you a prize. Soda Man up there is somewhat horrifying, and I'm honestly surprised that he didn't end up jumping down and killing me. Sorry if that was a spoiler. But yeah, he does not. I honestly, when I first put the 5 soda cans in, half expected him to just jump down and decide to come kill me. And, well, he's seen me now. I'm not getting caught this early. I refuse. I refuse with every fiber of my being. And this is one of the tedious parts. When you get aggro, you can either keep running around because the map is large enough, you will eventually get enough distance to get away from them, or you have to run all the way back to this little clubhouse where you can lose their aggro. I love the fact that this exists, but I do think that due to the length of the map, you need another checkpoint or safe zone somewhere else. There we go. See, that right there is one thing that makes me feel like me losing their aggro in here might be unintended.
More soda cans. Someone's been naughty.
But it's so nice. Otherwise, I would have to literally just keep running them around this entire map until they decide to lose interest in me. And he went right into where I need to go. No golfing beyond this point. Okay. There's a chance that he could turn around there. And I want to see what happens if I put a 6th soda can. I never tried it. I knew there was 6 of them, though. Because I had seen the 6th one. And as one might expect, coin go in well. that is one of the things that I have to do before I can get to the golfing portion. This right here is the part of the golfing portion that annoys me. I got the ball this far and then rolled it off, and then you have to restart, and yeah, there's the end right there. So it's frustrating to get that near to the end and then have to restart. And then to get that near to the end and then have to restart. And then get that near to the end and then have to restart. Oh, that was lucky. Oh, that was less lucky. Oh, he was way too close. I couldn't chance it. I'll get it on the second pass. I had to wait far too long for that. I don't have quite as much commentary this time around, sorry. I need to go open that door, there's something in there that'll get me in here, and then something in there that'll get me to the next thing, and then... I mean, there's another thing I could do in the meantime. I'll probably go ahead and do it, just...
Where's Santa's little helper?
Not here, that's where. You gotta feed the hungry skelly bones over here. Why did you... This is where it gets tedious, is because a lot of it comes down to repeatedly getting aggro, having to run back to the club, getting aggro and coming back to the club. And each time you get, you know, hopefully getting closer to your goal. But it's still... The more you do it, the more tedious it becomes. Put simply.
I lost them. Better go easy on the eggnog.
One of the big problems I run into is the fact that after doing all these little mini puzzles, you know, if you get caught 5 times, you get to do them all again.
I've been leaving all these soda cans everywhere.
And I feel like that's where you can end up losing a lot of your enjoyment. No, and I never thought thought about hitting it at an angle. This one isn't so much difficult as it is just tedious. Because you can't look to the side and swing. You have to... It's hard to keep track of where... And he saw me. Great! It's tedious even if you're left to your own devices for an extended period to be able to do it uninterrupted. But then when you're interrupted, you get to do this big loop-de-doo. And that just kind of
Roast you over an open fire.
becomes tedious. Why are you always on that side when I get here? I find it's easier to get somewhere right in the... Why did you not swing as hard as I asked? There we go. Okay, token machine over here gives me another token. Which I then go put in the well, assuming the fish isn't right here waiting for me. That was way too hard to get. Santa, I'd really... Oh, I just took a wrong turn. A little bit of a juke there, but hey, it worked. Having a sprint of some variety would be very useful. Knowing where these things go is at least useful. See ya.
Come here, see what Santa's got for you.
Nope. So that's the 2 levers. Third involves me pulling that lever and going into that room, but I can't do that with him chasing me because that room is an easy place to get bottlenecked and killed. Which can be, of course, very frustrating.
Let's roast you over an open fire. I guess I better go check my list again.
And if you're curious what happened on a technical level, basically I accidentally had the profile set wrong on OBS, and both recordings were recording to the same file. So the first part of the Gone Golfing was gameplay, and then at some point it randomly switched over to the webcam footage. So I have most of the videos, webcam footage, and microphone audio, but not the gameplay. And then with KOTOR, the video, like, only about halfway through the video, it just glitched and it became an unreadable video at that point. But resulting from both of them trying to write to the same file. Why won't... Ooh! I just want to pick the thing up and go on my merry way. Glorified baseball. At some point, just having him stuck on me is annoying. There's also like... Great. Will you leave me alone? This is why it's This is why the little clubhouse being a way to get rid of aggro is so important. Well, that stick is useless. It's apparently gone just right between the rocks for me to be unable to grab it. I'm sure if I had the freedom to actually stand there and click, or, you know, to aim without them being behind me, and I can't go in there with them chasing me because then I'll die. The inability to lose aggro is, or the inability to easily do so in a reliable manner that doesn't require me running all the way there is frustrating. At the end of the video, assuming that much of the assuming I get the end monologue, I recommend making this another safe room, or making another nearby safe room to that point, because it's kind of at the midway. And see, you have to drop the stick, and usually it's easy to pick back up. Okay, there's 2 things I need to burn. I'm thankful for footstep sounds. There's 2 things I need to burn, one of which is over here. Oh no, oh no, oh no! Oh, thank goodness! Oh, but yeah, that burned that. That over there is where the hole itself is. The lever opens the door that is barricaded, and then you have to burn the barricade away. They're way too close for me to go in there and grab another piece of firewood, and I'm sure you can guess what I have to burn with the other one. Other one being subjective, because you can pull what seems to be an endless supply of firewood out. It'll only have so many spawned at a time, I think, like 2. Or it may be like the fish and I just spawned 2 because I clicked at the right time. If you go left, then I go right. And I fly off into the night. Why, fish? That'll force some distance between us. Okay, he's still on my... Hey there, Santy! I didn't ask for you. Not one bit. I could go over there and light the fire in that pile too, but... I really like the DLC. I just find the laser-targeted woolly booger that wants to follow me endlessly until I run over into here, or just... It kind of... There is a tension to it, but it's a frustration as well, because of being unable to make any progress until you get here. And knowing that if you die 5 times, you lose all your progress, does produce an atmosphere of tension, but it also creates frustration because of how troublesome it is to do over and over and over again. Doing it once wouldn't be a problem, and if it...
Come here, see what Santa's got for you.
I think he's far enough away he lost track of me. He's far enough away for me to drop it. Oh, sure, why not? Some of it is RNG. Their path is more varied since the area is open, more wide open. You'll see them occasionally pause, and I think that's where there's a juncture point where they make a decision whether to go left, right, or turn around. But it is frustrating when they keep cutting you off when you're trying to get somewhere. Okay, now comes the other part. There we go. There does seem to be kind of a washed out gray on everything. It's like an atmospheric filter. It seems to be what's tied to the snow and all, but I mentioned in the previous recording it probably shouldn't occur within the house. As you can tell, there is a Golfam here. Key here is to find all the Christmas presents. Honey, why do the Christmas presents smell like gasoline? Did you forget to wash your hands after the last golfer?
There's been leaving all these soda cans everywhere.
At first, I suspected that. Oh, look, another note. Well, that one's unreadable. I believe the little golf ball may be the parent and child situation going on. I don't know. It's weird. It's a golf ball that talks, though, so I don't expect not. Basically, once you get all the presents...
Come here, I got something for you.
And I think he's about the same speed as the bigger golf ball, but due to his smaller size, that can be more threatening. But given the 5 life limit... It's
I found you once. I found you.
not recommended to let him catch you. I find that juking him around this little center part of the room is an easy way to get rid of him.
I found you. I knew I heard someone cutting out.
Okay, I honestly have never had this happen, though.
Forever.
Oh, well, he's lost me already. I think there's one more. Yep. There's enough footsteps for me to... I am Mr. Golfy, I'm Mr. Golfy, I am Mr. Gray, something. Cozy Cove shut down due to poor hygiene.
I found you.
I'm in a little more of a rush, I know, sorry. There's a different tension to it. Like I've seen this, so I don't have as much commentary on it, but at the same time... Okay. You're way too close to my giblets, buddy. I don't want none of it. And I don't think he can follow you out here, or at least I never had him do so. Okay, so there's one extra present, I guess? Or is it the valve is inside of one of the presents and you just have to keep doing it until you find the right one? Also, you'll find some frozen bodies like this with notes next to them, like, they couldn't find me hiding behind this tree, I'll head for the door once the coast is clear. But, as you can tell, their attempted hiding didn't work. And you can use this door over here as a pseudo-safe zone, since they can't follow you. Also, amusingly enough, you can't shut the door, it just resets the animation, and I find that amusing. Okay. This turning valve goes over here.
There'll be soda cans everywhere.
Wow, y'all both appeared perfectly in sync. Yeah, the exact same macro range, apparently. Like, they turned towards me in unison. Keep going that way, buddy.
Let's deck the halls. Let's deck the halls. With your blood.
The goal is for me to use that ramp that I've created to knock it up into the firewood room. He goes over there, loses
I
that.
better go check my list again.
He'll either turn left or right here. There's a chance he'll hesitate there and turn back around. The fish doesn't come this way unless he has your aggro. Like, there are some patterns. Their wandering zone overlaps in this middle section. At least I figured out how to knock it away from the wall. Oh, come on. Into the room you go. Now.
See what Santa's got for you. See what Santa's got for you.
At least you appeared from a direction I could see. Also, you can occasionally hear the little one from up here, and you can hear the big one while you're down
I
there.
better go check my list again.
Yeah, you do that. I'll beat you over the head with a clam chowder bowl. Okay, there's a chance he turns around there. And the fish is coming this way. There's a lot of nice little spots that you can conceal yourself with, too. Also, I love the Rudolph fish. The glowing red nose makes it very, very convenient to be able to see him at a distance and tell which direction he's facing due to his almost symmetrical body shape at a distance. That's very helpful. See, you can tell when he's looking towards you or away from you.
Better go easy on the egg.
Because otherwise he just kind of has this vaguely, well, fish shape. At a far distance, due to the light filters and all, it can be hard to tell what direction he's aiming otherwise. And this room is not safe. A lot of times they won't come in here, but sometimes they do, which is infuriating. And that's actually how I lost my last life on my last attempt before I ended the video. Because on footage, I had them almost a half dozen times walk in the room, turn right back around, and walk instantly back out of the room. So I convinced myself that obviously that was a safe room like the other. I knew they could see me from the window, but they had yet to ever aggro into that room. Well, guess what they did? They aggroed. Well, he walked into the room and then just turned and came after me. And there's not enough room inside of there to juke them. You can use the cabinet in there.
There'll be soda cans everywhere.
But there's otherwise not enough room for you to really run them around. Also, here's the other dead body I found. Never thought I'd make it this far. Need to catch my breath. Go straight for the exit. You can, however, you know, hide here.
My balls are freezing. Where's Santa's little helper?
Go elsewhere. Oh, I never realized. I just now noticed this is an open roofed place. Makes sense. Okay, now presumably the ball went where it needed to. I haven't failed that part yet. It's the part after that that becomes frustrating. Okay, the ball should be over. Oh, there's a ramp here. I could have used that. Okay. A lot of them have staircases, though. It would be nice if I could see through the slats on that a little better. Okay, it's this part. Watch. Okay, my thought is I could hit it really hard and try to shoot it over. Just completely overshoot that middle section. Because every time I get it there and it just rolls off into there. Be careful. Oh, it actually worked. I can't believe that actually worked. Will I actually finish? He doesn't see me. He doesn't see me. I may actually finish this by some miracle. It was way. The previous recording was over an hour long. Okay, I need to take my time and aim. And then the meatball bounces. I've never gotten this far. I'm a little bit ecstatic right now. Oh, okay, do not overshoot, because if you bounce it out of here, the world ends. Starting to get frustrated a bit. This'll work, maybe. Oh! the exit. Okay, went in the hole. I kind of expected it to make some kind of... I don't know. Fireworks or something. You can't stop me. I can't believe... Oh, no. No, you ain't. You ain't stopping me this close to the goal. Imagine this if I only had one life left. I figure that's the sort of tension they're going for.
I'm going to stuff your stocking.
But I don't care. By some miracle, I managed to get it to work. Because this time I just overshot that ramp instead of trying to knock it to there and then to the next one. Because I finally just got fed up and decided to overshoot. Well, I was going to read that note. You can't leave yet, the fun has just begun. Says you. That is a rude achievement. I guess one good thing came out of me having to re-record it. As you escape, you feel the cold snow against your face, and you hope this is the last time you'll ever have to face the horrors of Cozy Cove. The future is uncertain, but at least you'll be able to spend Christmas with your real family. And again, I can hear footsteps in the background during this, so my character is still walking. I guess that's the point, I'm running all the way home. Okay, well, by some miracle that worked, and in far less time. My recommendation, and I'll probably jump cut to the previous recording that I mentioned where I monologued at the end, because there is likely some overlap here, but basically, I think near the midway point, you need another safe spot. Make the firewood room, or put a little shack in there, or something to have a second safe spot near there. That's the main spot that I run into, where there's... The rest of the map is open enough that even if you get caught, you can, juke your way around and lose track of them. But if they come into that room and they catch you, there's not really enough room for you to circle around them. Because they are following just a straight line between you and them. And if you try to go around them, they can close that gap. So you have to have enough area to make a wide circle around them. It's hard to visualize, but it's a geometry thing. But basically, you've got to use an arc trajectory to get around them to maintain your distance from them. If you try to just run straight past them, you've shortened the distance between you and them, and thereby makes it easier for them to catch you. But in any case, I really enjoyed Gone Golfing. I look forward to seeing if there is more. I can see a definite improvement in level design between the base game and the Merry Golfmas. The area being larger, wider open, and giving me more room to juke around, as well as natural hiding spots that I can crouch behind that worked better than the base area in Gone Golfing. The basic game area was small and linear enough that I feel it makes you run into the golf ball and the fish far too often comparatively to the DLC, but it's also the fact that in the DLC I have somewhere that I can go and lose their aggro, and enough area that I can keep juking them around. In the base area, if you have the fish's aggro, you're likely to run straight into the golf ball. If you have the golf ball's aggro, there's some areas you can run him around, or glitch and jump up on the wall and stuff. But the DLC had a better wide open area. The same could be said for the escape mode. I would still recommend making the house a little bit bigger and polishing some of the dead ends that you run into. Even if you expanded on the house and had, the fish the fish is involved, but you know what I mean. But I do see improvement. My main critique for the game as a whole, though, is it is still difficult to get a good handle on how hard I hit the ball. There's a disparity between how hard I'm trying to hit the ball and how hard the game thinks I'm trying to hit the ball, and oftentimes I hit with a lot more force or a lot less force than I'm trying to. And that's one reason that I see a lot of golf games that use the little strength meter, because it's really easy to do. But it's not as intuitive and not as interactive. I love the, using your mouse to swing. I just think the math behind the force needs to be changed, because it seems like it's very easy to apply way too much force. If you polish it to the point that the player hits with the amount of force they're trying to hit, then it's down to player skill on making these shots, and it allows you to make more complex holes, I guess. I was looking for a better word for it than that. I would also recommend having some way to make it so that you can see the ball as it flies more easily, because there are many cases, okay, I know it's mini golf, it shouldn't be flying, but there are many cases when you can easily lose track of your ball in the terrain, either applying some sort of glow to it, or even having it when you hit the ball that your camera follows the ball could be nice, except because it's a survival horror, there are instances where you want to hit the ball and run, and that would be very bad for those situations. But yeah, I'll just deviate off into the previously recorded monologue now. Thank you for your patience. Well, as interesting as the Merry Golfmas DLC is, and I do think that it has its merits, the two biggest things I think are holding it back are, firstly, I really disdain that 2-ramp part where you hit it just a little too soft and you go off the first ramp. You hit it a little too hard and you go off the second ramp. It's already hard enough to control the exact strength that you hit with, that having a part near the end where you can so easily shoot yourself in the foot and have to restart is just, to me, Second, the 5-life limit is frustrating. It is doable, but after having done all the puzzles, I don't want to do them again. The Coke can's not too bad. Burning the presents is just time-consuming. And hitting the 2 fish wouldn't be too bad on its own, but, and here's the big problem with that one particularly, because of the nature of the way that your camera is locked down while you're waiting to swing, realistically you would be watching the skull and watching the ball out of the corner of your eye so that you'd know when to swing, and that one came down to more or less me just spamming fish until it worked. It didn't take a huge amount of time, but there is an unintuitive frustration to it as a result of the way the camera works. That just makes it frustrating. And then once you've dealt with that frustration, you've only got 5 lives to get the ball through that, gauntlet, which is interesting, and I like the way it's laid out with the caveat of, I don't like that, the part where it has to go over 2 gaps. I think if I got it there and then I just hit really hard, I could jump them both, and that is what I was going to do if I had gotten there again. But as it is, I cannot be bothered to restart the Merry Golfmas DLC and do all the puzzles again that I know I can do, but that just serve to consume time and offer me nothing as a player. It becomes repetitive once you've already done it, and that's where I would recommend either A, have the puzzles remain solved and the 5 lives pertain to me getting the meatball to where it needs to go, or B, get rid of the life counter. I like the life counter in theory, and if the puzzles stayed solved, I couldn't complain about it. On the other hand, one could say that 5 lives would be generous if you don't have to redo the puzzles. So there's kind of a, maybe make it 1 life, but once the puzzles are done, they stay done. Basically, I really like the Merry Golfmas DLC, but I take issue with the layout of the course. Not the layout of the course. That's way too vague. I like the layout of the map. The map is nicely laid out, and generally there's only a couple spots where I find that I can get dead-ended. One, in that first stretch where you leave the building and then turn, if you get seen in there, it's hard for you to get rid of golfums aside from trying to run little loops around that one little barrel spot. But it's easy to get hit into a dead end if you're there. But otherwise, there's generally a large enough map that unless you just get really unlucky and turn a corner and run face first into somebody, you can escape. One problem, however, is that in it of itself can become repetitive because all you are doing is running either until you get to the clubhouse or until you put enough distance between you and the enemy that they give up and, lose track of you. And that's tedious and non-interactive because every time it's the same thing. It's just, where am I, where is clubhouse, and what is shortest route there? I don't really know, how one could alter that, But generally, my thought would be to have the puzzles stay solved. That seems to be your biggest hurdle, is that every time the player restarts, they've got to redo the minigames that are themselves interesting, taken by themselves, but that become tedium when they have to be done again and again and again and again. I enjoyed the process of learning, where they were, what they were, and how to get the stuff, but I find that the thought of having to do them again, and then if I fail, having to do them again, and then if I fail, having to do them again, just kills my interest. It's a very interesting game, and I really love the concept. The combinations of survival horror and golfing. The base game is fun, but runs into some issues in its level layout, and overall it can be hard to actually play the courses when Golfums is so constantly stalking. The escape mode is pretty interesting. I still think the house's layout could be altered. It has a lot, it has enough dead ends in it that I feel kind of but it's also kind of small and simple in its overall, premise. Also, the two-story layout makes it hard to keep track of where he's at times. I mean, having too big of a house with too many interconnected rooms would equally do so, but the house felt small. For the map of a, survival horror, it felt small. I'd probably increase the size slightly, add a couple more rooms. Improve the stealth mechanics. Once they have line of sight on you, even trying to juke around a corner and hide behind something doesn't work because they keep, they know with laser focus where you're at. So oftentimes it just becomes a game of keep running until through my, move speed that slightly outranks theirs, I will eventually get far enough away that they lose me. And using a cabinet when they have line of sight on you is kind of risky too, because they might still see you in there, depending on how close they were when you got into the cabinet. Which makes logical sense, but it's still frustrating because it limits the ways that the player can interact with the environment in the game. But the escape mode was fun overall. And the Merry Golfmas DLC is fun and interesting. I just run into the problem of I don't want to have to redo the, all the side tangenty, time-wasty stuff. The stuff that's fun when you do it the first time, but isn't fun to look forward to having to do again and again and again and again and again and again. However many times it takes you to do it. Especially when, I just lost because I kept having to restart because the meatball rolled off the ramp into a place that I couldn't get back up to the ramp. Overall, the physics of it is nice, though. I do feel like the meatball had a tendency to bounce, and I still feel like the golf controls in of themselves have a tendency to apply far more force to the ball than I'm trying to do. I can barely, pull back and tap it, and the ball shoots off, 10, 20 feet, and I'm just like, I was trying to tap you all of 3 inches. Where are you going? It seems like the force on your swing scales up at such a rapid pace that it's difficult to get a proper control and handle on how hard you... The communication of how hard I want to hit the ball and how hard do I hit the ball. Getting these two to match more closely is useful because then it ties it more to player skill than it is to it sometimes feeling just kind of random. I feel like sometimes I tap the ball with what to me looked like the same arc and same amount of force, and I get vastly different results. Polishing that and adding more of polishing up the line of sight / stealth, hiding and all that. And the Merry Golfmas DLC did see an improvement in that, again, the level layout was great and had a lot more places that I could duck down and hide behind, and the movement of the two, monsters, enemies, whatever you want to call them, was less predictable, but also something that I could interact with, at least in as much as I could know where they're coming from, see them coming, and I had somewhere I could go and safely get away from them that the main game lacked in the clubhouse. I'm assuming the clubhouse was intended to react that way and I wasn't just glitching the game. If that's a glitch, then that's very sad, because that's like one of the shining points of the DLC was actually having a place that I could go to lose aggro, because I was inevitably going to receive aggro again and again and again and again and need a way to get rid of it. I think that room with the firewood should probably be another safe zone. just to kind of act as a midway checkpoint for once once you get there, you can also go in there for safety, but you would likely need to alter it in some way to explain why it's a safe zone. Because that's at about the midway of the course, it would be an upgrade from the clubhouse. I get the ball to there, and then I can breathe easy and figure out what I'm doing. And then as I'm going to the ramp area, I could run back to there instead of having to run all the way back to the clubhouse every time. So I think it would be a nice checkpoint, or it would be nice to have a checkpoint in that vicinity. But in any case, this has been Gone Golfing. I really enjoyed it. It is on Steam. There's a link in the description as per always. Thank you for watching. I'm going to go ahead and pause here, and I will see you on the next game.